Today, we stand at the threshold of a powerful new rhythm. It is a rhythm set in motion by this new moon in Virgo, a moment of quiet yet potent beginnings at the very end of August. But this isn't just a single event, a fleeting moment in the sky. This new moon marks the very first step in a larger story, a narrative that will unfold over the coming season. Think of it like a book with 3 key chapters, each building on the last. What begins today with this quiet new moon is chapter 1. Chapter 2 will arrive with the full moon in early September, a strong lunar eclipse that will bring matters to a head, pulling hidden truths into the light. And the story will reach its turning point and find a deeper resolution in chapter 3 with the second new moon in Virgo, this time a solar eclipse, right at the very end of Virgo season. This means the seeds we plant now, the intentions we hold, and the work we begin this moment will not only grow but will be tested and reshaped over the coming weeks. The quiet echo of today will be heard for a long time. It's a building narrative, a living current that moves through our lives. We are all part of this current, learning to navigate its flow. Hello, Mooncrafters. Welcome. This is Craft of Moon. As you may know, in my lunation guidance videos, I approach this a little differently than others might. Instead of just looking at the sky as it is right now, in this moment, we follow the moon on her full journey. First, we'll look back over the last 2 weeks, tracing her steps to understand the lessons and the strength she has gathered as she comes into this new beginning. Then we will look forward into the next 2 weeks, mapping the path she is about to walk, a path of challenge, clear encounters, and deep shifts. It's a way of understanding the whole story, the flow of the river, not just a single wave. We're looking at the broader current that carries us all forward. If this way of looking at the sky and the moon speaks to you, if it helps you feel more connected to the rhythms of life and your own path, I ask you to subscribe and join our explorations here. We're building a bridge between the vast sky and our own everyday human stories, and your presence gives this work its meaning. And for everyone who has returned, thank you. Your choice to explore these ideas with me is deeply valued. Let's begin. So here we are, a new moon at the very start of the zodiac sign Virgo. At its heart, a new moon is a coming together, a reunion. It's the moment when the moon and the sun align in the same part of the zodiac, resetting their dance, beginning a new cycle. Picture it as a deep, quiet pause, a time of natural darkness. This is the time when, if we were walking in the forest amid trees, the darkness of the night would be complete. This is something that is hard to understand in our cities where lights are constantly on through the night. But this is a time of darkness. And it's not just an empty dark, but a rich, fertile one, like the dark soil itself, ready to receive. This is the perfect moment for us to plant our new seeds of intention. These aren't just thoughts. They are the starting points for what we want to grow, what we want to call into our lives, and what we want to shape over the coming month. This quiet point in the sky asks us to look inward, to listen to the soft whispers of what truly wants to begin within us. It's where the old story gently fades, making way for the unwritten pages of what comes next. The ground we are planting in, this rich, dark soil, is the earth energy of Virgo. Virgo is often seen as the earth itself, not the wild, untamed earth of a deep forest, but the cultivated earth of the garden, the field ready for harvest. It's the energy that is practical, detailed, and deeply concerned with service and careful craft. Craft in the sense of things that require skill. Virgo is the part of us that knows how to sort what is useful from what is not, to discern what is healthy and what is not. It helps us see the small pieces, the vital details that make up the whole. Virgo's nature is one of purification and refinement, a call to bring natural order to all things. It reminds us that precision and care in the everyday moments build a strong foundation for everything else. It's about being truly present with what is in front of you. And let's be honest, there is a lot to sort through in our world right now. We see it everywhere. We see high-stakes meetings between world leaders that end with handshakes but no real agreements, leaving critical issues unresolved. There is a constant struggle to find fairness and justice in a world that often feels out of balance. We feel the economic pressures building, a sense of the systems we rely on for daily needs and security that are showing their cracks. Layoffs are happening in some major institutions, and the flow of funds for important initiatives, even when promised, can be slow to materialize. We see the international talks meant to solve huge problems like the global challenge of plastic pollution. They end without a clear path forward. This Virgo new moon doesn't arrive with a magic wand to fix it all. Instead, it arrives with a quiet, firm invitation, a focus on what is real. Focus on what is right in front of you. What small, practical, tangible thing can you do right now to bring a little more order, a little more health to your corner of the world? Intention requires those small steps. It's not about grand gestures, but about the steady, honest work of making things better, one small act at a time. It's about tending our own garden, knowing that its health contributes to the health of the whole. It's the simple power of getting your hands dirty and shaping your immediate world. This is the power of manifestation. Manifestation isn't something that just lands in our laps. It requires intention, and it requires action, and it requires effort. But there is another layer to this story, a much deeper one that makes this new moon truly unique. Also present in Virgo right now is the south node of the moon. If you're new to this idea, the moon's nodes aren't planets. They are mathematical points in space. They are the intersections where the moon's path crosses the ecliptic, which is the path of the sun. The nodes are the intersection of the moon and the sun, at least their paths. You can think of them as universal crossroads, points linked to our collective path. The north node points toward our future. The south node, where we are now, represents our past. It's a point of release, of letting go, of old habits, worn out patterns, and attachments that we must move away from to grow and evolve. It is a place of unburdening, where the weight of what has been can finally be dropped. And here is what makes this new moon so significant. Right after the sun and moon unite, the very first thing the moon does on her new journey is cross over that south node. There are no other planets in Virgo for her to meet first. Her new life, this fresh start, begins with an act of release. It's a clearing out before the building can truly begin. I think of this as a baptism of earth. We often think of baptism by water, a ritual of cleansing and rebirth. We enter the water and emerge anew, washed clean, fresh like a newborn. A baptism by earth is something else entirely. It's not about being washed. It's about being buried. It's the symbolism of the seed that must be planted in the dark earth. Its hard shell must break down completely, dying to its old form so that a new and living thing, a new sprout, can push its way toward the light. It's a deep surrender to the soil, a trust in the hidden process of growth. It is a quiet, powerful act of faith to the cycle of life. To be buried in the earth is to release all that you were so that you can become something entirely new. This doesn't have to mean a literal physical death. Think of it in your own life. It's the end of a career path that you thought defined in your life, an ending that feels like a loss, like a little death, but one that clears the ground for a new calling to begin. Maybe it's a relationship that transforms so completely that its old form has to die, allowing a new, more honest, more real connection to emerge. Maybe it's letting go of an old identity, an old story you've been telling yourself about who you are, making space for the person you are becoming. It's releasing the burdens you've carried, the old rules that no longer fit, the expectations that weighed you down. It's the courageous choice to bury the old version of yourself, trusting that new life will emerge from that rich, dark soil. It's a commitment to your own ongoing transformation. And maybe you even ritualize this process by going out into your garden and taking some kind of object, maybe just writing something down of what you are burying it, and bury that in the soil, in the earth. This new moon is asking you a direct and challenging question. What part of your life needs to be laid to rest? What old ground must be cleared so that something new, something more whole and healthy, something more truly you can finally be built? The intention you set now in this quiet, fertile dark is the very first seed you will plant in that newly cleared earth. It is an act of deep trust in your cycle of life, death, and rebirth within your own story. This is powerful, not just because this is a new moon. This is powerful because it is the first lunation of 3 in the sign of Virgo. Now, we can think of the path to now. How do we get to the moment? How do we access the wisdom gathered? To truly grasp the power of this moment, to understand why this new moon in Virgo carries such a potent message of release and new beginnings, we have to understand the journey that brought the moon here. Her travels over the last 2 weeks, since the full moon in Aquarius earlier in August, have been a pilgrimage of gathering a strange and powerful wisdom. She arrives at this new moon not empty, but carrying the lessons of her recent past. Like a traveler who has seen many lands and holds many tales, she carries the weight and the light of all she has encountered. Her story began with that full moon in Aquarius, a moment of collective insight, a pulling back of the curtain on shared visions and hopes for the future. From there, her first significant stop was the crossing of the North Node in Pisces, where the South Node is about release and letting go of the past. The North Node is about destiny, a pull toward our collective future. It's a surge of destiny toward a shared dream, colored by the Piscean themes of compassion, connection, and unity. The moon moved with this flow, absorbing the sense of what we are all moving towards. Together, a deep longing for common ground and understanding in the world. Immediately after that, she moved into the fiery, active zodiac sign of Aries, and waiting for her there were Saturn and Neptune, sitting very close together. Take a moment to feel that combination. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, boundaries, and cold, hard reality. It builds walls, sets limits, defines what is real and solid. Neptune, on the other hand, is the planet of imagination, dissolution, dreams, and often confusion. It blurs the lines, dissolves forms, and can bring both inspired visions and hazy illusions. They are almost perfect opposites, two very different energies, and they are sitting close together in Aries, the zodiac sign of bold initiative, action, and even battle. For the moon to pass through this tight pairing means she took on a powerful, often clashing set of energies. This configuration speaks to the challenging conditions we see across the world right now. The earliest effort to create lasting agreements and stable structures. Saturn's need for order on the shifting and often unclear ground of global politics. Neptune's sense of illusion and of change. We see this tension in the talks between nations where common ground is hard to find, even as leaders express hope for great progress without a clear path forward. It's the struggle for stability amidst powerful changes, both literal, like the monsoons and heat waves that have caused so much devastation, and symbolic, like the shifting ground beneath our economic systems, where layoffs are happening and funds for key initiatives are slow to move. The moon passed directly through this tension, picking up a difficult yet vital lesson. For any dream to survive, it needs structure. And for any structure to endure, it needs to be infused with imagination, a vision of what could be rather than just what is. It needs to bend or it will break. This encounter taught the moon the power of enduring through paradox, of holding two opposite truths at once. Following this, she passed over Chiron. In Aries, Chiron, often called the wounded healer, speaks to the courage it takes to face old wounds. The moon's passage here suggests a quickening of deep internal healing. It's not about a slow, drawn-out recovery, but a sudden, almost surprising shift in how we hold past pain. Our memories, perhaps even traumatic ones, often feel like shifting sand dunes. Yet sometimes a powerful instantaneous force, like a whirlwind, can completely reshape that sand in a moment. This is the quality Chiron in Aries brings, the potential for a swift internal transformation of old hurts, allowing us to heal others even as our own healing journey continues. It's a force that can turn the landscape of your inner world on its head, clearing old patterns in an instant. This transit reminds us that the pain we carry can become a source of strength, enabling us to walk alongside others in their suffering. From the fire of Aries, she moves into the stable earth of Taurus. Taurus is the moon's sign of exaltation. In astrological language, exaltation means this is where a planet is an honored guest, where its natural strengths are celebrated and amplified, where it finds its greatest ease and power. For the moon, who governs our feelings, our bodies, our deep need for safety and comfort, Taurus is a place of deep peace. Even with no other planets there to meet her directly by conjunction, this part of her journey was about gathering her own strength, grounding herself in the tangible world of the senses. It was a moment to remember the simple, enduring need for peace, for solid sustenance, for a safe place to stand on steady ground amidst the world's chaos. She took a deep breath here, absorbing the quiet strength of the earth, preparing for what was to come. During this time, she still connected by angle to Jupiter and Venus in Cancer, to Mercury in the Sun in Leo, and to Pluto in Aquarius. The intense energies of structure, illusion, and healing from her Aries transit were not directly touching her here, giving her a moment to consolidate her own power, to simply be in her strength. Then came the jolt. She entered the airy intellectual sign of Gemini and immediately met Uranus, the great awakener. Uranus is the planet of sudden shocks, brilliant insights, rebellion, and rapid technological shifts. His presence is a lightning strike, an unpredictable and electrifying strike. This is the energy behind sudden, surprising news reports, revolutionary new technologies, like the humanoid robots now competing in games, or massive data breaches that expose what was once private information, impacting thousands, as we have seen. For the moon, this was a jolt of electricity, a sudden change in perspective that shook her out of her Taurian comfort, pushing her to see things in a new, perhaps unsettling way. It was a call to innovation, a spark of unexpected freedom. She learned that even stability must sometimes make way for revolution, and that clarity can come from disruption. After the shock, she moved into the deep waters of her home sign, Cancer. A planet in its own sign is said to be in its domicile. It's a home in its own domain, where it is strongest and most comfortable, where it can be its true self. And here, in her own home, she found Jupiter and Venus waiting for her. This was a moment of deep, expansive restoration. Jupiter brings growth, optimism, and abundance. Venus brings love, pleasure, and connection. Yes, it's true they each have their own shadow sides, but here, in the safety of her own home, the moon was bathed in the most gentle and supportive energies in the zodiac. She was reminded of what is truly worth protecting: our foundations, our families, our connections, our sense of belonging, and simple joy. It was a moment to remember, love, and support, to replenish her spirit, to feel a sense of warmth even when children facing mental health crises are waiting for care in emergency rooms, reminding us of the need for nurturing attention where it is most needed. She gathered comfort and strength, soaking in the feeling of being truly at home and connected to the source of life. Finally, her last stop before meeting the sun was in the proud, radiant sign of Leo. Here she entered her balsamic phase. This is the very end of the lunar cycle, the wise keeper phase, when the moon holds all the experience of the entire journey she has just completed. She is collecting the last wisdom before her rebirth. In Leo, she met Mercury, the messenger, the mind. This meeting happens while the moon is in her crone phase, not in a fearful way, but as a deeply knowing figure filled with the wisdom of all life's stages: birth, love, loss, and endings. When she connects with Mercury, the planet that can move between different kinds of realms and ideas, it's a time when her understanding becomes particularly deep, touching on unspoken truths. It's like the moment right before a new dawn, where the deepest secrets of the night are held and transformed into the light of a new day. She was quietly consolidating all she had learned, turning experience into deep knowing, preparing to shed her old self and emerge anew. She has gathered it all. Notice the only major energies she hasn't touched directly by conjunction are Mars, the planet of action and separation, and Pluto, the planet of deep transformation and power. These two are waiting for her on the path ahead, adding to the tension of what is to come. She carries all this gathered light, this complex, rich experience into her rebirth with the sun. And now, as this Virgo new moon, she offers that collected wisdom to us. A moment now, and think back on your own last 2 weeks. Did you feel this story playing out in your life? That strange push-pull of trying to build something new, followed by a deep need for grounding and stability? Was there a sudden shock or a piece of news that changed your perspective? Maybe about technology or personal freedom. And did it lead you back to what truly nourishes and protects you? To the people and places that feel like home? What quiet wisdom did you gather? Let me know in the comments below. Your story is a part of this collective story. And by sharing it, we all learn. That was the path behind us. And now we can look to the path forward, knowing where the moon is now and the qualities that she comes into this moment with. Up ahead of us are the trials and transformations of the moon. So with this seed planted in the freshly cleared earth of Virgo, where does the renewed moon lead us? In the next 2 weeks, let's map out a journey that is anything but easy. It is a path of challenge, direct confrontation, and necessary transformation. The moon is moving into the unknown, and we follow her. As we discussed, her very first step after uniting with the sun is across the south node, a conscious, deliberate act of letting go, of leaving the past behind. From that moment of release, she travels into Libra, the zodiac sign of balance, justice, and relationships. And there she finally meets Mars. Mars is the warrior planet. His nature is to act, to sever, to fight. Libra is the domain of Venus. Its nature is to harmonize, to connect, to create peace. When Mars is in Libra, he is said to be in his detriment. This means he is not in his element. He's in a place that is fundamentally at odds with his nature. This isn't the warrior on the battlefield, charging forward with courage and clear purpose. This is more like the diplomat struggling to keep a straight face while gritting his teeth, the lawyer fighting bitterly over a contract, or the simmering tension in a partnership that is struggling for fairness. It is a conflict bubbling just beneath a veneer of forced politeness, a struggle to find justice when direct action feels out of place. The air in Libra can be thick with unspoken grievances, a quiet but firm pressure. The moon's meeting with Mars here will bring our collective feeling, our emotional body directly into this struggle for balance. This is a time where conflicts over what is fair, what is just, and what defines a good relationship will feel deeply personal and urgent. We see this on the world stage in negotiations that are filled with tension and unspoken threats, where agreements are hard won, if at all. Think of the recent summit where leaders reported great progress, but no ceasefire, leaving key issues unresolved, or nations filing complaints over tariffs, seeking a sense of balance and a rule of law. We feel it in our lives, in different conversations, strained relationships, and choices that demand a careful balancing act. The moon picks up this friction, this push-pull, forcing us to confront difficult truths about fairness. This friction is not to be avoided, but faced head-on with clear eyes. Then, the journey gets darker. From Libra, the moon enters a section of the zodiac known traditionally as the Via Combusta, or the burnt path, the fiery road. This stretch, running from the last half of Libra through the first part of Scorpio, has been seen for centuries as a difficult, even unfortunate passage for the moon. It is a trial, a gauntlet that must be passed through. It's where things can feel uncertain, where the way forward is not clear and hidden dangers may emerge. This feels a bit like walking through a fog where the ground beneath your feet feels less solid and every step requires extra awareness. And right in the middle of this burnt path, she enters Scorpio and passes through the degree of her fall. If exaltation, which we discussed earlier, is where a planet is honored and strong, the fall is where it is at its weakest, its most vulnerable. For the moon, who needs comfort and connection, this is her lowest point of ease. Her journey through the Via Combusta and her fall is a journey through a kind of underworld. It's a deliberate descent into the hidden realms of power and control. Scorpio is the zodiac sign of power, secrets, control, and everything that is hidden beneath the surface. This period can be a time when hidden things are forced into the light, secret enemies, covert plots, the poison in a system that has been ignored for too long. We see echoes of this in news of alleged coup plots on distant lands, or reports of private security firms making deals in unstable regions, highlighting shadowy forces at play. This also surfaces the uncomfortable truth of those who might use positions of authority to taunt or belittle, even as when a minister is filmed harassing a prisoner, challenging ethics and social justice in plain sight. This part of the journey asks us to walk through fear with our eyes open, to face the shadows in our world and in ourselves without flinching. It's a call to look directly at what we might prefer to keep buried, even the hidden dangers of contaminated medicine that can tragically take lives, demanding that we confront uncomfortable truths and pull back the veil. As she moves through Scorpio, she squares Pluto, the planet of deep change, which is currently in Aquarius. A square is an aspect of tension, a challenge that demands action and forces a choice. It's a point of friction, a crossroads where growth feels uncomfortable. So even as she's in her weakest position, the moon confronts Pluto's immense power, forcing us to face the hidden power dynamics and control structures at play. It's a push against massive, unyielding forces of transformation affecting our collective experiences. This can feel like a direct challenge to the way things are, a pressure to break free from old forms and fight for greater freedoms and rights for all. After this intense passage, she moves through Sagittarius and then Capricorn. In both zodiac signs, there are no planets for her to meet directly by conjunction. Imagine walking a long, dark road and finally coming out to the other side only to find the next stretch of the journey is completely solitary. It can be a time of searching for meaning and purpose, and then trying to build a new structure in our lives. That's the contrast between Sagittarius and Capricorn. But feeling like we have to do it all on our own. This part of the journey calls for deep inner strength for building your own resolve. It asks us to rely on the wisdom we have already gathered, because there may not be much external support available. It's a test of our inner fortitude, our quiet perseverance, asking us to become our own strongest support. This is where you learn to walk alone, yet find your own power. And then, after this long, lonely walk, she finally arrives in Aquarius. There she meets Pluto again, this time in a conjunction. This is the climax of her 2-week journey. Pluto is power itself, not the power of a king or a president, but the deep, impersonal, evolutionary power of transformation. It is the force of death and rebirth on a massive collective scale, shaping the very ground we stand on. The moon, who represents the people, our collective mood and emotional state, comes to face this immense, unyielding force of change. It is a moment of reckoning. After the initial release, after the tense conflicts, after the journey through darkness, and after the lonely road of rebuilding, we are all confronted with the raw power of transformation. That is reshaping our world. We see it in the news about global shifts, about fundamental changes in how systems operate, and how justice is sought on a wide scale. What we do in that moment, how we choose to respond to the immense pressures of our time, will define the next chapter of our story, individually and collectively. This is where we learn to transform with the flow, not against it, allowing the old to fall away to make space for the new. This period also sees a moment of important shift. Saturn, the planet of structure and limits, moves from Aries into Pisces on September 1st. Saturn in Aries asked us to build new structures with courage and direct action, often feeling hard and sharp. But in Pisces, a water sign of dreams, dissolution, and collective consciousness, Saturn's lessons will shift. We've been here before. Saturn was in Pisces for 2.5 years, and it's about building boundaries in a fluid world. We're creating structure around our compassion and our spiritual ideals. It can also mark the necessary dissolution of old, rigid forms that no longer serve the greater good. A gentle washing away. This move changes the very ground under our feet, pushing us to find discipline in our dreams and compassion rather than just in our actions. It's a call to make our ideals real, even in a world that feels unbound, to give shape to our highest visions. To add another layer of tension to this path forward, Mars in Libra, which we discussed earlier, forms a square with Jupiter in Cancer around September 4th. This square is a challenging aspect, pushing for action. Mars in Libra wants fairness and balance, even if it has to fight for it. Jupiter in Cancer is about expansive growth, protection, and nurturing what feels like home. This aspect can create a clash between what is fair in our partnerships and what truly nourishes our core sense of safety and belonging. It means that the difficult conversations and disputes we face, whether personal or global, may feel like they are directly challenging our sense of security and our foundations. We might feel a strong pull to protect what is ours, even if it means confronting others in the process. This push and pull requires us to act with integrity, seeking just outcomes while protecting what truly matters in our hearts. So then we have the work of intention and compassion. And what are we supposed to do with all of this? The journey ahead is intense. The world feels chaotic and unpredictable. The roles we thought we were supposed to play, the figures we were meant to be living out, aren't always clear anymore. Are relationships turning upside down? Is our world becoming unknown. Indeed, we face an unknown archetype, a feeling that our path isn't mapped and we are forging it with every step. Are we the hero of our story? The one facing challenge? The healer? The builder? Sometimes it simply feels like the archetype is unknown because we are in the messy, uncertain process of creating it with every choice we make. We are defining ourselves in real time, not fitting into a pre-written script. This is precisely where the two core themes for this entire cycle come into sharp focus. These are our tools, our guides through the uncertainty. They are intention and compassion. With so much happening in the world that is far outside our personal control, global politics, extreme weather events like intense heat waves, devastating floods, hurricanes, tropical storms, massive economic shifts, it is incredibly easy to feel powerless, to feel small and insignificant. A mere leaf tossed by the wind. But this Virgo new moon, this one, reminds us of the immense power that lies in the small, the tangible, and the practical. The one thing you can always control, no matter what is happening around you, is your intention. What is the purpose behind your actions? Intention isn't just about setting a goal. It's about the quality of energy you bring to what you do. And you must do. You must have your actions in alignment with that intention. Virgo teaches us how you do the small things is how you do everything. It's the care you put into the details, the focus you bring to the immediate task, even the smallest act, the way you speak to a stranger, the careful attention with which you prepare a meal, the quiet focus you bring to a single task at work, when done with a clear and conscious intention, sends ripples out into the world. It's like tending a small garden. Each plant you nurture, each weed you pull, each drop of water you offer, adds to the health of the whole. In the middle of a storm, your intention is your rudder. It gives you direction and agency when everything else feels like chaos. It grounds you. It is the quiet power that you always possess, regardless of external circumstances. A power that helps you stand firm. I invite you to try this. This week, pick one small routine action you do every day. Maybe it's making your morning drink, walking your car, or answering the first email of the day. Before you do it, take one single breath and set an intention. Maybe it's an intention of peace, or of clear focus, or of deep gratitude. Just notice that one small shift changes the texture of the moment, how it changes you. If you feel comfortable, share that intention in the comments below. Let's create a wave of conscious action together, grounding our collective energy in mindful purpose. And as we prepare to navigate this challenging path ahead, through the conflict with Mars in Libra, the darkness of the Via Combusta and the raw power of Pluto, we are called to our second tool, compassion. When we see suffering in the world, the news filled with reports of human struggle, or when we face conflict in our own lives, the instinct can be to judge, to blame, or to turn away and numb ourselves to the pain. But compassion is a courageous and intentional act. It is the conscious choice to see the shared struggle, to recognize the humanity in others, even when we deeply disagree with them or feel wronged by them. Compassion is a force that connects us in a world that seems determined to separate us, to draw lines and build walls. It is the quiet recognition that everyone everywhere is on their own difficult journey, carrying their own burdens, striving for their own light. It allows us to move beyond simple judgment and into a deeper understanding of human experiences, universal human experiences. It is an act of empathy, a willingness to be present with another's pain without needing to fix it. Just witness it and hold that space close. And this compassion must be extended to yourself. On this journey, you will make mistakes. You will feel lost. You will feel afraid, unsure, or overwhelmed. Compassion for yourself is not a weakness or an indulgence. It is the highest form of strength. It is the heart's most powerful response to a world in pain and to your own struggles. It's allowing yourself the same kindness, understanding, and forgiveness you would offer to a dear friend. It's accepting where you are, even when it's messy, and gently guiding yourself forward. To deny yourself compassion is to deny a vital part of your own healing journey and to block the very current of self-acceptance. Your work in this cycle is simple, but not easy. It is to hold your intention clearly in every small thing you do, grounding yourself in purpose, and it is to act with a courageous heart of compassion, both for yourself and for every other person you meet, every living thing you encounter. That is how we navigate the unknown. That is how we give our story a meaning we can truly live with, a meaning that empowers us to face whatever comes next with resilience and grace. These twin lights, intention and compassion, will illuminate your path through any darkness. It is what we need in our lives, whether we are doing that on our own or through the support of others, using plant medicines, using meditation, breath work. To bring it all together, this new moon in Virgo is a powerful seed point, a quiet beginning of a much larger story. It starts with a call for baptism of earth, a necessary release of what is old and no longer serving you, to make way for new, more authentic growth. It's about clearing the ground for what truly belongs and trusting the cycle of rebirth. The moon arrives at this moment, having gathered deep wisdom from a long and complex journey. And now she sets out on a path forward that will test our resilience through conflict, through shadow work, and through periods of solitude. She will also move through a significant shift as Saturn changes signs, altering the landscape of our collective structures and boundaries, asking us to bring order to our dreams and ideals. Our guides, our essential tools for this journey are a clear and focused intention on every small act, and an open, courageous heart of compassion for ourselves and for the world around us. These are the twin lights that will lead us through any darkness. Remember, it's just chapter 1. The story that begins today will unfold and intensify through the eclipses in the coming weeks. The work you do now, the seeds you plant in your own life, truly matters. Each conscious choice, each act of care, each moment of genuine compassion builds the path forward for us all. If this guidance has resonated with you and you feel called to explore how these powerful energies are showing up in your own life and your own chart, you can find more information about private readings on my website, which is linked in the description below. Thank you for sharing this time and this space with me. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up and share with someone who might need to hear this message. Until next time, keep your eye on the sky and make a wish upon a star.